This week on Christian World News, political turmoil in Nigeria. As the country votes in its national elections, some fear the results could bring even more violence.
Plus, she stood up for Christ and spoke out against Islam. Now she's paying a heavy price.
And celebrating the life and ministry of a television giant. Our look at CBN's Pat Robertson on his 85th birthday. A divided nation prays for peace as voters cast their ballots. Hello, everyone. I'm George Thomas.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. Nigerians head to the polls this weekend for a crucial election.
Yeah, big election with a Christian and a Muslim candidate vying for the presidency. The outcome could test the unity of this very important African country. Nigeria's current president, Jonathan Goodluck, is a Christian from the south. His challenger, Muhammadu Buhari, is a Muslim from the north. After months of campaigning, polls show the race a dead heat. Some 68 million Nigerians have registered to vote.
We voted for Goodluck Jonathan in 2011. All Nigeria needed him then, but now we need change.
We want him to finish what he has started for Nigeria, because since he has been there has been a lot of transformation.
The election was supposed to happen on February 14th, but was postponed to this weekend because of security concerns, due to the repeated attacks by the radical Islamist group Boko Haram. With the election now set for March 28th, there is a lot of debate, as you can see here in the national newspapers, about whether the date should have been changed in the first place. What is clear is that many Nigerians are concerned about the security conditions, not just here in Abuja, but across the country. They are concerned whether these elections can take place without bloodshed. The last time Jonathan and Buhari campaigned for the presidency in 2011, hundreds of churches were burned, hundreds of Christians killed, and thousands of Christian businesses and homes destroyed, mainly by Buhari's Islamic supporters. Security this time around is still a big worry. Nigeria is fighting a 6-year Islamic insurgency by Boko Haram. They've killed more than 13,000 people, trying to turn Nigeria into an Islamic state.
And that is the reason why I keep insisting on we needing God's intervention, because it's the only one that can actually save us, it's the only one that can actually do something about this situation.
For the past 6 weeks, a multinational force led by Nigerian troops recaptured most of the towns held by Boko Haram in the northeast. But this week's mass kidnapping of more than 500 women and children by Boko Haram near the Niger border was a reminder of the group's potency despite the military offensive. Religion will be a big factor in the election. Nigeria is split down the middle. The south is Christian, the north is Muslim. Jonathan's base is largely from the prosperous oil-rich south. Buhari's is in the north, which is also Boko Haram's stronghold. While Jonathan has brought some economic stability to the country during his time in office, his indecisiveness on dealing with Boko Haram could potentially hurt him with voters. Buhari has promised to tackle corruption if elected, but his Islamist leanings are cause for concern. He once called for the implementation of Sharia law in Nigeria. The stakes this weekend could not be higher. Nigeria is Africa's most populous country. It has the largest economy on the continent and produces more oil than any other nation in Africa. So the outcome of the election and any potential violence will be felt far beyond its borders. CBN News will be updating this very important story throughout the weekend. Please check out the details at cbnnews.com or visit our own Facebook page.
Turning now to northern Iraq, where more than 1 million refugees survived the winter in makeshift refugee camps. With no prospect of returning home soon, they're trying to plan for the future. CBN's Gary Lane asked Christian Wright of Open Doors USA about their needs and their hopes.
When we were there in the summer, the challenges were water and staying cool, that type of thing, and immediate needs of food and clothing, shelter at that time. And then when we went back at Christmas time, we saw there were a whole different set of needs. As winter was setting in, then they needed heaters, but they still needed food. What are the needs now that winter has passed?
And that is a great question, and you've definitely watched the transition transpire over the past several months. Right now, many of the NGOs that I'm speaking with and the humanitarian aid workers are telling me that a lot of the challenges have shifted to more long-term considerations, such as education. In fact, one NGO worker told me earlier that their entire focus is now on education because they're realizing that if they're not careful, these kids are going to lose crucial years of their life in terms of their education. So education is very crucial, obviously, but you're also looking at the reality of what a lot of children have experienced, and that is trauma. So trauma counseling is huge, and a lot of people need that emotional and spiritual support after what they've been through. So trauma counseling is significant, education is significant, and then also there's something that the concept of child-friendly spaces, and these are designated, supervised areas where refugee children can go to simply be children. I'm really, really excited about the potential of child-friendly spaces throughout Iraq to really help children reclaim childhood in a really crucial way.
Amazing, isn't it? We'll see the full interview at Gary's blog, The Global Lane, at cbnnews.com.
In other news, President Obama is renewing calls for the Iranian regime to release American pastor Saeed Abedini. He's been jailed in a harsh Iranian prison for nearly 2.5 years because of his Christian faith. Now President Obama has issued a statement saying, quote, Saeed must be returned to his wife and 2 young children who needlessly continue to grow up without their father. The president's statement came on an Iranian holiday that often includes a reprieve or freedom for some prisoners. Obama also called for the release of 3 other Americans who are imprisoned or missing in Iran.
Benny Hinn continues to recover in a hospital after experiencing weakness and trouble breathing. The evangelist says he did not have a heart attack. He was admitted to the hospital last week after an outreach in Brazil. His daughter said in a statement that he was battling fatigue and having a hard time breathing. Now, Charisma magazine says they've spoken with Hinn and his doctor and confirmed he did not have a heart attack, but doctors did successfully shock his heart to reset the rhythm. And coming up, she's paying a huge price for speaking out against Islam. Stay tuned for an update on Heidi Mund, also known as the brave German woman.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. 8 years ago, my husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphan's Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be, but they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
And welcome back to Christian World News. A Christian pastor in China is facing 1 year in jail. His crime? Asking questions about the forced removal of crosses from church rooftops in the country. Pastor Yong Jing is the first person to be jailed for opposing Xinjiang province's intense campaign to remove crosses from churches. Authorities in that province tore down about 400 rooftop crosses last year, saying they violated the building code.
Well, she became famous for taking a very public stand against Islam in Germany. Now, Heidi Mund is paying a high price for her brave actions. Dale Hurd brings us this update on her courageous story.
In 2013, she stood up when a Muslim imam was giving an Islamic call to prayer inside a historic German church. And she proclaimed that Jesus Christ is Lord of Germany. And she warned the audience that what was happening was a lie.
Jesus Christus allein ist Herr über Deutschland. Ich zerbreche diesen Fluch.
The YouTube video and our CBN News story were seen by millions. And this mysterious Christian woman named Heidi Mund became known around the world as the brave German woman. And although she does not want the credit, some believe Heidi did break a curse over Germany, setting the stage for the massive street demonstrations against Islamization the following year by the citizens group Pegida.
People told me, do you know what you did last year? You broke the curse over Germany.
But today, Heidi Mund is paying a heavy price. Police patrols keep watch outside her home. A far-left radical group leafleted her neighborhood, telling residents that they live next to a racist and threatening her with violence. When she and her husband Matthias tried to start a Frankfurt chapter of Pegida, she came under intense attack in the media, and Matthias was fired from his job. A local association of evangelical pastors distanced themselves from her, asking if Jesus would join a group like Pegida. And in a nation where loving your country and flag-waving patriotism is viewed with suspicion, internet videos mock her as a Nazi. What none of these people probably saw was what we did on a chilly street in downtown Frankfurt last year, where this alleged Nazi was setting up for her street ministry to give away Christian DVDs to anyone who would take them, but especially to Muslims.
God uses me very often for Muslims. It's our commission to give them the gospel of Jesus Christ. It only can be Jesus, yeah? Only Jesus can fill their hearts, the lack and the hole in their hearts. Only He can. And if they meet Jesus, if they accept Jesus in their lives as Savior and as Lord, the Holy Spirit will change them and they will not be our enemies anymore.
But Heidi has had to stop her street ministry and now lives in semi-isolation, going outside only when she has to. With no income, the Munds may lose their home. She has since left Pegida, a group the German media portrays as Nazis, but which Heidi says is mostly ordinary people, concerned about their nation.
They say, oh, we have the Nazis, and everywhere in the newspapers you can read about the Nazis, the Nazis, the Nazis. So, but yeah, this is like a balloon of lies. There are some, of course, but I believe most of them are honest and they really have this aim to protect Germany against this brutal ideology.
Now she says she can only wait on the Lord and trust God to see her through a very difficult period.
It can push us down very easily, yeah, and we could be depressed or discouraged, but think about it. Jesus is always Lord. Just hold on to walk in His ways.
Dale Hurd, CBN News in Frankfurt, Germany.
Thanks, Dale. And those who want to help Heidi can make donations through her PayPal account. You can find a link on our website. Just go to cbnnews.com.
Coming up, he's 85 years young and still going strong. We celebrate the life and legacy of CBN founder Pat Robertson.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes and Google Play now.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. 8 years ago, my husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphan's Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
Pentecost 2015. From the corners of the earth, believers gather in Jerusalem. Walk where Jesus walked. Pray in Gethsemane. Rejoice at the empty tomb. Don't miss messages from over 100 world-renowned speakers and a score of popular worship artists. For more information and to register for the Empowered 21 Global Congress, go to Jerusalem2015.com. This May, Jerusalem.
Well, CBN founder Pat Robertson just celebrated his 85th birthday, and the ministry he started back in 1961, well, it is still going very strong.
That's right, George. CBN has helped broadcast the gospel to the ends of the earth, and Dr. Robertson has branched out to launch no less than 5 organizations to impact the world. Take a look.
Pat Robertson is internationally known as the host of the 700 Club, one of the longest-running daily programs in TV history. For more than half a century, he's led the Christian Broadcasting Network and the global outreaches of its affiliated entities.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
At CBN, we broadcast in about 58 different languages. Figures that I have seen since the fall of communism indicate that we have seen between 500 and 600 million people accept Jesus Christ as Savior through this ministry.
This network of Pat's life has touched so many millions of people with this power of God, the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ, that has transformed and changed lives by the millions.
Because Pat believed the biblical mandate to care about the poor, he started CBN's humanitarian and relief arm in 1978. Now one of the most trusted charities in the nation, Operation Blessing International has touched the lives of more than 246 million people in 105 countries and all 50 states, providing disaster relief, medical aid, community development, and clean water.
We distribute about 100 million pounds of food and supplies to the inner cities of America every year.
In order to equip and launch future Christian leaders, Pat established Regent University in 1978 with 70 students. Since then, Regent University has grown into a global center for Christian thought and action. There are 59 degree programs on campus and online, with 16,000 alumni in 84 countries.
We have won the National Moot Court Championship, took the role that Yale had a year before. We won the National Negotiating Championship, took the role that Harvard had the year before. We won any number of regional moot court competitions in law. Over 200 film awards. We actually won the college Oscar, the best student-produced motion picture in the nation. We have 500 teachers of the year. We have 23 sitting judges. We have people in Congress and students from all around the world.
Pat's influence went beyond Christian ministry and education. Beginning early in his public life, Pat consulted with church and political leaders around the globe. Through the decades, he's continued to confer with many U.S. presidents and world leaders. Recognizing his leadership, a group of social and political conservatives petitioned Pat to run for the Republican presidential nomination in 1988. Pat's presidential run gave rise to the Christian Coalition, a conservative pro-family political group.
For the first time, the world had to take the church seriously in a way that heretofore they had relegated us over to stained glass windows and padded pews and said, stay in your little corner and go no further.
Having engaged in the public debate, Pat saw a disturbing pattern. people of faith were steadily losing their religious freedoms in America's courts. It was then he founded the American Center for Law and Justice to defend religious liberty here and abroad.
Pat saw a need, which is part of Pat's life has been that, is seeing a need. And that was, there was not sophisticated advocacy for Christians against groups like the ACLU and People for the American Way. And we've had, 20 cases at the U.S. Supreme Court in the last 20-something years. And we had a lot of victories in those cases. There's not a time and seasons for religious liberty. It's an ongoing battle that we've now taken around the globe, and that was also part of Pat's vision.
I think that Dr. Pat Robertson influenced this nation and the church and the world in an amazing way because he leaped over the wall, became involved in the political system, let his voice be heard at a time that most clergymen stood apart from and pointed their finger at the White House. He chose rather to engage the process.
So he's had enormous influence. And he's been a figure that did it when no other figure had similar credentials.
Perhaps Pat's greatest endorsement comes from the love and respect he receives from his wife Dee Dee, his 4 children, 14 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren.
He has a tremendous heart for God. He has his quiet time every morning, and it just never fails.
Pat Robertson is one of the most influential 20th century Christian figures in the evolution of Christian thought and in the expansion of Christianity throughout the world. He and his organization that he built have had a powerful worldwide influence on the history of Christianity in the 20th and 21st century. That's a pretty good legacy.
"85 years young" is right.
incredible.
He keeps us all on our
He
toes.
does.
And, I'm so blessed to be able to co-host the 700 Club with him. And I just can't believe what he's done in one life, just one
Unbelievable.
life.
And a man who decided to obey God.
Yes.
The result, millions of people are walking into the kingdom.
That's the key.
That's
Just
awesome.
obey.
Well, folks, we'll be back right after this.
Give me that. Bye. Sure, life is busy, but I found a way to make a huge difference in people's lives. I guess you could say I'm changing the world right here from home. I bring medical supplies and doctors to people in need, and dig wells so that villagers can have clean and safe water to drink. I make it possible to preach the gospel in over 100 countries, including right here in America. And when disaster strikes, I'm there, providing food, thank you, and emergency supplies to give people hope again. Every day, CBN and I are making the world a better place. Here you go. My life is hectic, so I joined CBN through Pledge Express. My bank does all the work, and I know that my gift is being used where it's needed most. So become a CBN partner and join Pledge Express, because you can do a world of good right from where you are. Hi, good morning. Are you ready to get started?
Pat Robertson recently recorded a very special program to answer the question, does God still heal today?
What we're trying to do here, Scott, is to tell people how they can access the power of the living God through Jesus Christ.
Discover the answers and let your faith be encouraged.
And then Jesus spelled out of how we can have healing and how we can have miracles.
In Pat Robertson's latest DVD, Be Healed, you'll learn the biblical basis for healing today, how to exchange anxiety and worry for faith and confidence, the way to pray for your healing and healing for those you love. Plus, meet real people who've experienced the miraculous healing power of God.
The first thing I did was reached out for a lifesaver, and that was God. You can put your trust in medicine, but the ultimate healing is going to have to be God.
Find out the biblical principles that lead to healing in Pat Robertson's latest teaching, Be Healed. Available now.
Finally this week, where did the show go?
Too fast.
All right. Well, finally, one of the most significant periods in Israel's history came during the Jewish exile described in the book of Daniel, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel.
Yeah, and we are now learning more about that time from ancient artifacts that are now going on display for the very first time. My colleague Chris Mitchell brings us that story
from Jerusalem.
By the rivers of Babylon we sat and wept for Zion. Those are the words of Psalm 137, written when King Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Jerusalem and carried the Judeans away captive to an area that's present-day Iraq. It's also the name of a new exhibit at the Bibleland's Museum that Chief Curator Filip Vukosavovich calls an incredible puzzle.
What we do here is for the first time tell a complete story of the Babylonian exile from approximately 604 BC when Nebuchadnezzar comes for the first time to the land of Israel up to 539 when Cyrus and the Persians conquer Babylon and release all the exiles.
Much of the information for this exhibit came from these clay tablets written in Akkadian in ancient cuneiform script. On display for the first time ever, they tell of daily life in Al-Yahudu, the city of Judah in Babylonia.
Probably next to the Dead Sea Scrolls and the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, this is the most important documentation that has ever been revealed.
Museum director Amanda Weiss says it also opens a major chapter of Jewish history.
It's the thread that ties us to our ancestors.
Here we see an ancient tablet next to a modern one that tells the story. The texts talk about real people, exiled Judeans, and everyday life from rental agreements to tax issues.
One of these people is Haggai, son of Ahikam. I have actually chosen Haggai simply to narrate the story of the Babylonian exile that has never been told before.
In the exhibit, Haggai tells the story from the first exiles all the way to Babylon in 3 animated movies. Vukosavovich says he met Haggai in these texts.
I know his brothers, I know his father, I know his grandfather, grandmother. You know what? I know his great-grandfather. All of this through these new texts which nobody has seen before.
Weiss says one of her favorite parts of the exhibit is the model of the Al-Yahudu village.
We actually are showing interactively a scene in daily life, and you can see plowing the fields and rowing down the canals and the rivers and people cooking in their home fires in the evening and the date palm trees, and you get a sense of the cycle of life.
Part of what the tablets show is that the exiles lived prosperous lives and followed Jeremiah's command. Build houses and live in them, and plant gardens and eat their produce. Multiply there and do not decrease. And seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will have welfare.
So when in 539 Cyrus the Great and the Persians conquer Babylon, Cyrus simply releases all the exiles. Many decide to stay, like Haggai and his family. They had established lives. They had rich lives. They had their families. They had their schools. And only in 1950, 1952, following the establishment of the State of Israel, the state of Iraq simply expelled thousands and thousands of Jews. So just as they went with almost nothing, they returned with almost nothing. So that is a full circle of the Jewish people that were exiled and then returned after 2,500 years.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, the Bibleland's Museum, Jerusalem.
Well, that is it for this week's edition of Christian World News. It went by so fast.
It did. It was a lot of fun. Thanks so much for joining us. Until next week, from all of us here, goodbye and God bless you.